So how do we build a Skool community that people actively want to keep coming back inside, engaging with, and that they never want to leave? But just as importantly, a Skool community that you want to keep showing up to, that you enjoy hosting and being inside. So in this video, I'm going to go through a few key points that I've noticed through trial and error myself that I see working, and also that I've seen working for other successful communities out there. So hopefully these will help you grow your Skool community. The first thing is that you got to ask yourself, do you actually want to be a Skool leader? Do you want to be a community leader? Do you want to have to go to that work of building potentially a large community and managing it over, say, having an online course or doing one-on-one coaching? So you've got to ask yourself if you want to be able to, if you want to have to keep showing up to a group coaching setup. And communities do take a little bit of work. They do take a lot of motivation and pushing things forward, especially in the beginning. They get easier as it takes on a life of its own and people become more active. But in the beginning, it can be a little bit of work. And it's a lot like starting a party, hosting a party, shall we say. So the more numbers and more people you get in there, especially if you don't know them, then the more problems that you will have trying to engineer the success of that community and making sure that people don't fall by the wayside, get dead, stop engaging, and just disappearing. It's all about that connection. Now, I used to run and organize parties and events in London many years ago, and I actually had a company and I did this full time. And what we would do is we would create bespoke locations, make things decorated and look fantastic, and we would engineer the crowds that we brought into these parties because we didn't want strangers, and we knew the people who were going to be more fun, the people who were going to get along. And you can bring some strangers in, but you always want to make sure that you've got the core audience and the core people who you know are going to make the vibe really, really good. They're going to dance, they're going to have fun, they're going to be good looking, they're going to be actively enjoyed in the type of music and stuff that you're doing. So you want to engineer your audience. So you want to start off with perhaps a few people and then go from there. But you also want to, make sure that you're organizing the flow of it, just like I organized the flow of the party. We would create, say, have different types of music in different rooms, different activities, and very sort of adult fun playground, if you will, to make sure that people didn't get bored. Because if you're just sitting around drinking and dancing, for some that's enough, but for others, they want more activities. So we would do photo booths and many other different fun activities that we would mix up and change with each party that we did. So people knew that there was going to be different and exciting and interesting things happening at these parties to make them different and unique. And that kept them coming back and showing up for more, and it stopped them from getting bored. Because what happens is people get bored, they lose motivation, and it's your job as the community host or the party host to really make sure that you're getting everybody talking and you're getting things fired up. And then later on, you can relax. Once the party's going, everybody else is doing the work for you, and they're all socializing and they're all getting along. And that is how a community is. So you really need to be engineering the crowd and the flow of the party. You really have to be the leader at this, especially in the beginning. And then once things are going, you can be a little bit more hands off. So you need to make sure that you're okay with that and you're happy being the person pushing that forward. And don't worry if you're not, an outrovert, you're not someone that's more outgoing. I'm personally an introvert, and I liked actually working more in the background and engineering the conversations and stuff and the groups and getting them all going. So as someone that's an introvert, you can definitely do this. Don't worry. You don't have to be the guru at the top. And in fact, that's probably a negative anyways. The next thing that I see is that we don't want to overwhelm people inside the community with courses. Now, having some courses is great, but you can easily overwhelm people with content. Now, I've personally done this myself. I meant to be charging for our community. And if you would like more help growing your community, then I will link to our free community in the video description where you can go and check it out yourself. I have a lot of training in there, but I think I probably have too much. And I used to have a lot more, and I've removed everything down to one program. But for a free community, it's probably too much. And people will always want to show up for a free course. The question is, do they actually want to be in the community? And most people that turn up anyways, regardless, will probably not be that active, especially in a free community. There will always be the top 10 to 20% that are active. But in terms of a course, if people are just coming to consume that information and leave, then they probably have no intention of ever engaging. So you definitely don't want, in a free community especially, to have too much information. You want the community itself, and perhaps the calls as well, to be where the true engagement and the magic is actually happening, with the classroom just being part to give them some foundational information, something to help them gain momentum, ready for the next step, which could be you selling something else to them. But do not overwhelm people. Really think about it in terms of you're getting the foot in the door, they're the first step on the ladder, and then you're going to move things up. The transformation part can come with paid products later on. It's going to be more about the social feel and showing up and getting the motivation, getting the juices flowing, getting their foot in the door so that they can then believe that this can work for them and they're ready for the next steps. But if you overwhelm people, this is one of the main reasons that people leave communities or they don't take action. Too many options can lead to, paralysis by analysis. So it just leads to too much going on. So these days, especially where we're overloaded with information from AI and social media, people want less. Don't value dump on people. So I would say to a degree, I might actually be value dumping on people. And it's something that I'm going to look at in the next couple of weeks to maybe rein back even more, just for the sort of core information that they need to be able to get started on their journey. The next one is you want to build slowly. It depends how quickly you can basically build connection. But coming back to the idea of a party, if you're starting to introduce people and you're getting them all connected, such as, hey, meet Bob and Sarah's doing the same as you, Bob, so you two should talk. You're going to introduce people. They're going to get to know you. The more people know at a party and they can talk to, the more relaxed and enjoyable it's going to feel to them. No one likes coming to a party on their own, not knowing anyone, and feeling awkward. You would just turn around and eventually leave. What you need is the host to come over and go, hey, how you doing? Come on, let me show you around. I'll introduce you to a couple of people. Let's get you a drink. So then you take on that burden at the beginning, before the flow happens. And this is often what happens with the onboarding. But if you're doing, say, group calls and stuff, these have the same effect, but you have to get people on those calls as well. So when you start slowly, each person is special, and each person you can plug into the community and find other people that they like and connect with. That way, they're more likely to come back. And they're not just coming back for you. So you very quickly want to get people actively engaged in the community, speaking with other people, and then also potentially speaking on the calls. So I would say have some type of onboarding or have calls so that you can get the connection going, and don't rush to let everybody in. I let about 1 in 3 people into my community. I want to make sure they're a good match because I already know that most people are not going to be that engaged. So I really want to try and maximize the opportunity of those people coming in. So I will look at how engaged they are in other communities. Are they in 100 communities and not active or commenting or communicating? That's a real thing. So these days, it's not just about you being allowed in. It's not even like that. We will look at you. It's not just you looking at our community. We as community builders will look at the potential members, and we will look to see, are you a good member? Are you someone we want in our party? And if the answer is no, you never get engaged, you never participate, you're in 100 different communities, and you're not doing the thing that you're coming to the community for, probably not a good fit. So make sure that you're being selective about who you let in, and then you're actively trying to get them to engage in the community so you can build that connection. The next part is do not hog the mic. This is not karaoke. We've all been to karaoke parties, and especially like myself, if you're someone that doesn't really like singing, you maybe need a couple of beverages before you start singing, but there's always the few people that hog the mic. So every time you think, right, I'm going to do it, and you try to get up there, everybody, you've got the mic hoggers who are singing every frigging song, and eventually you just think, I just won't bother. I'll just let them do it, and I'll sit in the background. If you hog the mic, just like at karaoke, then you will be doing that to your audience. And also, you don't really want to too much let other people hog the mic too much as well. Be careful with that. Obviously, you can't tell people too much, hey, shut up. No, but you do want to set certain rules to allow time for people and space for others to be able to feel comfortable coming out. So this comes back again to sort of onboarding, getting people feeling more comfortable in the space, because it's overwhelming initially. you're taking the steps to come into the community. You might be overwhelmed with the coursework, might be overwhelmed with what it is you're going to actively start doing, whatever the community is about. And then if you're trying to get involved, but it seems a bit scary, we really don't want you to be sucking all the air out of the room, answering all of the questions and leaving no space for other people. So let your community breathe. Let people speak on calls. Let answers go unanswered for a day or so. Let to see if other people will answer it for you when people ask questions on posts. And if no one does, then you can answer. But let it breathe a bit. Give the community a little bit of space and don't hog the mic, because we hate that. We hate mic hoggers, so don't be that person. And then we've got have a goal or passion, a common goal or passion that unites you all together. Now, not all communities are community first. Maybe there's a program or a goal first. Maybe it is just about networking and it really is community first. There's different structures for so many different communities out there. But you really want something that unites you all together, because people tend to remain strangers if there's not something uniting us together. If I do sport and we're interested in that sport, that unites us. We're all coming together on that. If I want to grow my business with, say, Skool or YouTube, then that would all unite us together. If I want to grow my garden and make it look beautiful, it brings us together. If I want to learn painting and I'm a beginner, we're all coming together on that. If we want to come and network as older people who perhaps feel a bit isolated and we just want to socialize and talk about the pains of aging, I don't know. But it's common stuff that unites us all. So you really want to have some type of common goal or passion that unites everybody in the community, because I find this keeps people coming back. It's why we join clubs and hobbies in the real life. So think about it in real life. If you go and do something and you enjoy it, you keep doing it. Well, community online is no different. You still have to enjoy it and you want to keep coming back. So I really think, although even if you maybe not are trying to make money out of this, you really want something that unites people with a common goal or passion. And as an added bonus, if you are planning on making money out of this, obviously, if you have a single focus, sort of a niche authority, if you will, which I'm always saying, become a niche authority on that particular area, then you will be easier to sell products and services if you're uniting around that common goal. And then the final one is to make it more about us versus you. So we don't really want to make it just about us. This is not a one-person pyramid here where it's you talking at the top all the time and everybody can just shut up. We want to make sure that it's more about us. Now, again, in the beginning, you probably will be having to push things forward, engineering conversations, and just try to get better at being the person that makes introductions and starts questions, open-ended questions. So rather than it being like a support community, you don't want to answer questions that are final. You can answer people's questions, but you can then maybe ask another question so that every post has more and more comments, more and more questions, more and more conversations, and the community just expands in that sense. So really try to move everything towards them so that it's less about you and it's about us, because it is a community after all. So I hope you found that useful. Again, if you would like more training on growing your community and business, then I will link to our Niche Authority community in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.